when you're passing the guard, there's a couple different phases. Like the first phase is like getting into the position and getting outside of his feet. But then the second phase is like, can I just hold this position as long as I can to make it hard for him to get any sort of like guard back into place so then you can attack him. So the first step is like getting there. Second step is just like hold it. So then you can just basically stay there as long as you want. And they can't really do anything to you. And then the third phase is like actually passing. So one thing that I've been thinking about is like what body alignment for me would be good for maintaining the position versus passing. So if I'm trying to hold this position, what type of grips and what type of posture should I take? What type of variables am I looking at when I'm trying to maintain it? And then how do those variables change when I'm actually trying to pass? So basically, when I'm trying to maintain this position, what I'm worried about is Mike's near leg here connecting to me, his far leg connecting to me. And in order to do that, if I'm here and Mike's relatively like the same alignment as me, it can be hard for him to bring his leg in to face his foot. Yeah, exactly. Like he has to bring it all the way around to bring it in. But if Mike were able to move his head away, now it becomes very easy for him to put his foot on me. So basically, when I get to that position, I'm trying to put myself in a position where he can't put his near leg on me, he can't put his far leg on me, and he can't move his head away from me. Right? So if I get like a couple variables that I think are important are Mike's near leg can be up on my hip like this, or it can be down on my shin like this. I think for passing, this is better because I can start to just drive my knee like right down and start to immediately pass. But for maintaining, I think this is better because if Mike's trying to like shoot his hips away, or yeah, he's trying to shoot his hips away, I'm like just following very easily. And if he was trying to stand up and like wrestle up into me, like he's trying to turn his feet, I can hold this leg and he can't stand up. The near leg here, if it's low down by my shin, this tends to make it easier for Mike to bring his leg back to the inside to trap my leg. Whereas if it's up on my hip, it becomes harder for him to do that and kind of wedge it in place here. So I think being up by the hip is good for maintenance. Now, with my hand up here, I think if you're trying to hold the position, it makes sense to grab his head in some way. Just like lay here, right? And I did this to Millie. I had her leg shelved like this, and I was grabbing her head like this, and Gavin was yelling at her, strip away, and she was trying, and I was like, oh, I feel bad. So I go over her head, and then she escapes, right? So, yeah, like basically I'm just holding it.
Yeah. That's true.
So yeah, I think if I'm trying to maintain the position, leg shelved, some control over the head. If I'm trying to pass, I probably want to use this hand to like push his knee down. Or it could be more, like it's not a static position necessarily. Like I could be here fighting, he maybe like clears the hand, yeah, and then maybe I go like to this side or whatever. And then maybe like during the commotion, his foot like slides down. Yeah, he tries to shrimp, exactly, and his foot comes down. And then now instead of trying to maintain, now it's my chance to shoot in and pass. So it's like, you maintain, they're freaking out trying to push you away, and then you wait for some opportunity, and you just go boom, and then you're in. As far as passing goes, basically the mindset we're trying to like think about when passing is we're trying to maintain the position, and then we're trying to force him into some guard retention movement, and then we're trying to pass off that guard retention movement. So with his near leg, the guard retention movement is likely going to be trying to capture our trail leg or trying to extend to our lead hip here. So ideally, we don't let him go here. Ideally, we force him to try and connect to our trail leg. So when we're in maybe our camping position here, our maintenance position, and maybe Mike starts to like push me away with his frames, yeah, and then starts to slip his knee down towards my shin, yeah, this indicates it's kind of my time to move. So I could, just knee cut here, back, and like oftentimes you can like knee cut and use this like brow drag type movement to clear his frames and things like this, to work to pass. We could also, when he drops his knee and then starts to threaten to capture our leg, like this. This is traditionally like pretty common to come down and try and get chest to chest half guard. But the idea is we get into some sort of maintenance position and force him into some guard retention movement. And right now we're looking at the guard retention movement of him capturing us with his near leg. So he frames away, probably brings that leg down a bit, and then threatens to capture us. And when he does, we're looking to get into like progress our position, and this example would be chest half guard. The other option that I really like when he tries to capture your near leg, so actually let's start here. So we'll say we're camping, he frames me away, starts to capture a near leg. I really like the idea of taking this grip and putting it in his armpit, and then immediately switching your legs to go into like high step passing. So like you could just bring your leg out. You could look to stuff his knee in your armpit, take your hips, and go into like smash passing. You could look to take a big step, flatten him out, and go into chest half guard that way. You could look to go into these types of like scoop grip, like over under passing. There's a lot of things you can do, but I like the idea of going into high step passing to like stay in an offensive cycle. So the way this might look, I saw Joseph do this, where he's camping, this person's recovering, and they trap him in his leg here. He switches here, immediately posts, frees his leg, and then gets right back to camping on the outside. So I think it's a really good way to stay in offensive cycles and continue to outside camp. And obviously you can go other routes and go into like more tight passing. But if you want to keep loose passing, I think this is a good option. You can see Joseph's outside camping, but his trail leg gets caught. So he switches to that cross lat post and puts his lead knee on the mat. So he goes into basically high step passing, but instead of standing high step passing, he's down on a knee high step passing. And he uses that to free his trail leg and then get right back into outside camping. The other options are for his far leg. So when we get into our maintenance position, his far leg can come over and connect to the lead side of our body. When this happens, we can take this cross scoop grip on his leg, and then we look to play this dilemma where basically if his knee shoots into this gap here, I can't bring my hand into this opening, so I can start to look to switch sides over this leg. So right now I feel like Mike's knee is like kind of in my armpit. So in this situation, I might actually like bring my hips forward and bring his knees away. But if his knee's a bit lower, like this, trying to get inside, I can pop over this way. I can also lead with my outside knee and come into more like leg draggy type stuff. But the idea is you switch sides if this knee is close to his elbow here. And as I'm trying to switch sides, if he's extending that leg, I can come back in this direction to pass. The other thing we can do is if he connects to the trail side of our body, like this. Ideally, we don't want him to get like a full lasso like this. So I saw Dorian do this, I really like it, where he's trying to throw in a lasso. He kind of connects his shoulder and ear, so this like space for him to get like a full blown lasso is not there. And then, so he's trying to put him on the lasso, kind of curls up and prevents that from coming in, stands up, and then switches sides. We could also, like one thing Craig did was throwing a lasso, like this. Craig stands, grabs the leg, and starts to stack this way. So basically you can switch sides, or you can stack and like continue working on the same side. Another option I saw Craig do that I really like is if I want to keep going this way, I can feed myself into a weave. And ideally, like Mike's going to want to be framing, here. Ideally, I can get rid of this frame and get over his body like this. But even if I can't, and he's framing, I'm just looking to pin this hip on the mat, because if that hip can come off the mat, he can potentially triangle me, and if I posture out of the triangle, he's probably entering K-guard. So Craig did this to Nikki quite a few times when they were home. But basically, Craig's outside camping. Nikki throws in a lasso. Craig continues around the same direction, and then ideally clears this frame in a way where he can start to work to like lock his hands underneath the body, and just keep Nikki on this hip and continues to pass. So yeah, I really like that option to keep going the same way.
And the audio on this sequence is pretty funny, and it just kind of shows how frustrating this is for the guard player.
Dude, this is so annoying.
That's the weed, baby.
The other option that I saw from Joseph, who I think he stole from like Lucas Kennard and Levi, was off the lasso. You can look to switch sides, and as you switch sides, you can shallow out your grip and then get into this kind of like cross frame here and then start to stack. So obviously you can't do this from the opposite side, so I need to switch sides to do this. So like a pretty cool way to switch sides these days is you kind of pin their shin, and ideally kind of give them space so this foot isn't on your outside hip, kind of pin their shin, back step. And when you do, you shallow out this arm and then start to lift and elevate and stack. But it can be from a situation like from here, we bring our leg in, we take a little step back, pick it up, and then now we're looking to bring his legs above his head. But you can also use it from this type of situation where we're here, and we ideally want him to throw his leg to the far side so we can take that grip. But if he brings it to the near side, now we can look to stand up, run this way, pick it up, and then start to lift it up above his head. And we're bringing both legs above his head. Maybe like fast or whatever. But the idea is to start getting his hips elevated and feet up like towards the mat. Cool. So the main thing is it's hard for me to do this from the opposite side. So if it's Mike's leg over here, if I were to do the same thing, I'd probably let go of this, grab his foot, and then try and throw it this way. But if I'm able to switch to the same side, now I can take this grip, which I think is much preferred. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that same game we've been playing, where the top person, they get out to an angle and they get whatever grips they want. The grips that I've personally been messing with are this leg shelved on like up by my hip and getting some control over their head and starting in this position. And then my goal is to keep Mike's feet off me for as long as possible. So I don't have to hold this position. I can go this way, and then I can even transfer to that same position on the other side. So I can move. My goal is just to keep Mike's feet off of me. And his goal is to touch me with the sole of his foot. If he touches me with the sole of his foot, I lose. Cool? Alright. 1, 2. Okay, so now next thing, same game, but now the top person wins when they get chest to chest. Cool? Yep. Alright. Let's go. 1, 2. So now, next game we're going to play is we're going to start in this position. Does everyone know how to get here? Good? So this person wins if they pass one leg across their body and then the other leg across their body. So I can do it with my feet here. Maybe I throw my feet to the outside, and maybe Mike frees this leg. That's okay. If I can control his other leg in some way and pass it across my body, then I win, because I pass this leg across my body, and then I pass this leg across my body. I could also do a situation where maybe I pass this leg across my body, and then I go and I grab his other leg, and then I pass that leg across my body, and now I win.
Is there trying to pass both legs or just one leg?
You're trying to pass both. So we started here. I passed this one, and then my goal is to pass this one across my body. But I can do that, like I don't have to let go of this leg to do that. I can keep control of this leg and pass this one across. Or if Mike frees this leg, and I'm like, oh no, he freed it, it's okay. I still win if I pass this one across. Cool. This person wins if they can just basically run away and disengage. So one thing I want this person to think about is it's going to be easier for me to pass the leg across if he's on his hips. If he stands up, we're here, and he stands up. Now this leg is very heavy, and I can't really pass it across my body. Whereas if I knock him on the ground, Now I can pass it across easily, right? So this person can focus on keeping his hips on the mat and passing legs across the body. Cool? Any questions? Okay. 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to play the same game. I just want to give the attacker something to think about. So I've talked about it's a good idea to keep his hips on the mat, right? So let's say we're in a situation where I've passed his leg over, but now he starts to stand up, right? So I need a way to keep him on the mat. So one good way to keep him on the mat is for me to stand up myself. So if I stand up like this and then Mike's trying to stand up, I can keep him on the mat, and then I can figure out a way to get his leg before I sit it back down, and now I can pass it over. So if I want to be here and I'm struggling, I can stand up and I can pass his leg over like this, and then maybe I can sit down, throw my feet to the inside, and then work to grab his second leg. There's a lot of ways you can do it. Don't have to stay seated as the attacker is going. Cool? All right, 1, 2. All right, so now next game we're gonna play is same starting position, but now I win if I can connect my hands around Mike's waist. So that can either be like this, like in the front, or if Mike turns away from me, and I connect it with my chest on his back, that's also a win. So one thing to consider is if this leg is straight across my body and I'm trying to come up and grab Mike's waist, I'm still in between his legs, and it's probably going to be hard for me to get around his knees, his hooks, things like this. Whereas if I pass his foot to the outside and now I come up, ideally I can get right to his waist. But even if he recovers, now we're in that starting position that we were working on warming up, and now we're trying to get our chest to his chest. If Mike wants to stand up and he goes to the same hip that I have on my like the same side hip that the leg I have on my hip. Does this make sense? And Mike tries to stand up, it's going to be very hard for him to stand up. He would have to turn to his other hip, and now he can stand up very easily. Does this make sense? Cool. So if I pass the leg across and Mike turns that way, he's going to stand up, and it starts to be like me scrambling to try and like get a hold of him, right? Which is what happened to a lot of people, and like led to losing the position. So kind of the same idea, where we're trying to like grab their second leg in some manner. It could be a good idea to control his other leg first, and then pass the leg over. So now when he's trying to stand, it becomes very hard for him to stand. And then I can start to climb up to his hips, right? You can control the secondary leg like I did with my hand like this. Or I can maybe bring my feet over, so now I'm controlling it with my feet, and now I'm passing it across, and now I'm coming up to his hips. Does this make sense? I'm just trying to interact with his leg in some sort to make it hard for him to stand up and give me a little advantage, right? So, yeah. Think about a second leg. Don't just be tunnel vision on like, pass the leg over and go. Yeah, cool? Yeah. 1, 2.